What we have is an opportunity and a platform. We've got the ear, and I feel like we're keeping this energy. And I love working for the Kings because they allow us to keep this energy. With that being the case, you know, we've gotten to where we've gotten, not by the fact that we're supremely talented, that was a part of it, but we all had mentors. We had people who stepped up and helped us. Can we, or think about someone who is not of the black race who mentored you and stepped up and helped you, not because of your color, but just because they liked you and knew you were going to be good at what you do?
I mean, I had a lot of those. I say a lot, but I can remember, like, as an inner city kid, and I had hoop game. I just was a street player. I never got really instruction. And my father, when I finally met him, he lived in a racist town in Washington, and he was black, which is weird. And my mom is white, and we live in the hood, so I was mixed up from that point. That had me confused. But I met a high school coach. He was a high school, but I wasn't in high school, but I was friends with his when I went to school. They, you know, because I'm the only one. So they're like, I kind of gravitated toward the hooper, and his name was Dave Denny, and he taught me a lot of fundamentals. And then when that began to mix, that's when things began to go. So yeah, I mean, there has been people who have who reached out and grabbed a hold and gave a hand, and I've been truly appreciative of that, no doubt.
When I started off in the business, I'll never forget it. His name was Peter Watts. Older white dude, probably at the time in his mid-50s. And I had just finished my playing career at York University and was interviewed after the game. Camera goes off and I said, "Mr. Watts, my season's over now. Do you have any jobs for students at the TV station?" Because he had interviewed me. And he said, "Call me Monday morning at 9 o'clock. I called him at 8:59 on Monday morning. And he had me come up to the TV station the next day. I got an interview the next day after that, and I went to work the following week. And he was a field reporter, announcer, and I just watched him. He let me follow him. He told me to follow him, watch the way, because I'd never taken formal TV courses in school. And he allowed me to just grow in the industry and watch him do his scripts and watch him film stories and watch him write stories. And his mentorship to me was as pivotal as anything that I've ever experienced. So I realized the value of, you know, somebody reaching out to you, and they don't have to look like us. It really doesn't matter, and we have to be open to it too sometimes, you know.
I say for me, like, I think of my coaches that I've had. When I started playing basketball in 7th grade, I didn't want to play basketball. I wanted to run track. I wanted to be FloJo. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do.
With the one-leg tights?
Yeah. Yeah, with all the hair, with the nails. That's what I wanted to do. And the 7th grade coach told me to play volleyball. I did. Wasn't my sport. I didn't like it. It's too slow for me. And she's like, "Oh, okay, we have basketball coming up." I'm like, "Look, you made me play volleyball. I'm just doing this for track." So she's like, come on, you'll be great. And I was like, fine, and look at me now, right? So like, I'll never forget that. Going on to my high school coach was amazing. But my college coach, Gail Gestencourse, was huge for me, just in my growth as a woman, a person. We had our fights, but I love her to death. And I remember, you know, when all this came out about George Floyd, the next day I got a long text from her, and basically she just wrote, like, "I love you, I support you, I stand with you, and I will speak out even more than I have." And I just remember that. It was just like, not out of the blue, but just, we always text, but that was just something she needed to say and do, and it's something I already knew, but that she put it out there. So those are people that were, I think, influential for me.
There's a lot of people, you know, that are willing to help and have helped over the years. You know, I remember, you know, even while in college, like my first part-time job at a TV station, a woman by the name of Ann Poppy. I think I was the first African American on air, on TV in La Crosse, Wisconsin, you know. And I remember doing this live shot, and I was a news reporter at the time, and it was at a busy street. And they were thinking, should they put in a light or stop sign or whatever? And so I did this live shot. After my live shot, she called me and said, Kyle, that's not how you do it. I want you to show me how busy this street is. So I walked across the street at 5 o'clock, rush hour traffic. But I say that because, yeah, I don't know if that's right. I'm like, you happy now, right? No, but you know, it's interesting because, you know, at every job I've been, you know, I've been promoted. And so while I do want to thank the people like Carolyn Imler in Louisville, she got me a voice coach and the station paid for it, Mark, you know, which is rare. You know, usually you go to a voice coach, you got to come out of your own pocket, but they saw something in me. And so with all of us though, really, these people helped us because of the kind of people we are. Let's you know, give them a lot of credit, and I thank them, but we are here because of the work we put in. And you know, that's why we're inspiration. And true, we had help along the way. We had mentors, we had people guide us. But they wouldn't be mentors if we weren't the kind of people that we are. And so I applaud all you guys for making it to this level, because it's not easy. You know, great Bill Rhoden wrote the book $40 Million Slave. You know, you know, it's you know, these athletes get to their level, but people don't talk about the sacrifice and the work that they put in to get to that level. And so while they are blessed, no doubt about it, but they worked hard to get to that point. For people at home, there are people there that will help you, but you also got to put in the work too yourself.
Mm-hmm. You know, in the United States, in the world, you know, cash moves everything around. Here to get the money, dollar bill, y'all, right? So how and where in our education do we need to move towards financial literacy to build strength in our community?
That's great. I mean, I'll jump right in on this. That should be taught in schools. You want to teach us about George Washington. You want to teach us about Thomas Jefferson. Teach us how to balance a checkbook. Teach us how to not go into debt. You all know, when you go to college, you get to college campus, how many credit card companies are just sitting there preying on you, waiting on you?
Ready to
you
get
know?
that 20%.
Yeah, exactly. And I fell prey to it. You know, I said, yeah, give me that MasterCard. Give me that American Express. And so financial literacy is huge. And I know Harrison Barnes is doing something with that right now, and I applaud him for that. But that should be taught not even in high school, even earlier than that. And it's something I teach my kids. Credit cards, nope. Going into debt, nope, we don't do that, you know? And so I think that should be taught at a very young, early age.
Yeah, I have, you know, a 26-year-old, 20-year-old, and soon to be 19-year-old. And, you know, I've taught them the value of having great credit. I always preach to them about, listen, we're going to set this up for you so that you can, I know it's just a small amount, but we're going to make payments on your little car for $180 a month or whatever it is, and you are establishing credit. Or whether it's setting up something with your rent schedule for my son, your credit is a lot. And that's I think one of the things that I learned at a young age from my mom and dad, that you got to have good credit. I mean, comedians make jokes about it, man. You know, like, I hate to say, like the Dave Chappelle skit or something, is he black, is he white? Oh, check his credit. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's sometimes the way it is. Yeah. But financial literacy is, you know, that's one component of it. And I've always felt that, you know, the sooner, Kyle, like you said, we can get to people and teach them the importance of having it start early rather than late, it's better. Because, you know, I heard a staggering statistic the other day about how white high school dropouts have more collective wealth than black college graduates.
You know,
so, you know,
as being an ex-player is vitally important, because we have to understand is that we don't come from wealth. So when the jokes are made about girls and guys going broke, part of it is the financial literacy and understanding what to do with your money and how to go about creating generational wealth. And if you don't know that, which kind of they prey upon us in many ways, because if they know and you don't, they stay and you don't. That is the thing. And when you bring up Harrison Barnes and different things, 6 times more likely to go to college if you have a savings account when you're a young kid, that's a huge number, because all of a sudden things start making sense and you start looking at the world differently, and it's not a game all the time. Not that you're not having fun, but you're making the right decisions. So it's a very important thing, especially now as a race and as a culture, as we start coming into more money. When we think about De'Aaron Fox and we think about players who are in the hundreds of millions and they're barely 20 years old, if you haven't learned, man, there's people there trying to take advantage of you, from your agents and on and on and on. So it's very, very important.
We've all experienced just about every NBA stadium, if not every one. I'll go out on a limb and say that we have the best fans in the NBA. I mean, this place rocks, for real. And, I've had the opportunity to experience this community, to, go out and listen to fans talk from a distance. I ear hustle all the time, so I'm sitting around in restaurants and I hear them talk, and they're very knowledgeable. What knowledge can we impart on them to make this situation better? How can Kings fans truly step up and be a part of this?
I would say that, if we are going to thrive as a city, as a community here locally, and it goes globally too, we have to think of equality not as pie, in the sense that more equality for me doesn't mean less for you. It doesn't mean that. Equality is not pie. Equality is doing the right thing. And it sounds very buttery and syrupy, but I think in the interactions I've had here in Sacramento so far, people have been tremendous. And I can't shake the image of what happened with Stephon Clark here, and the night that Vivek took the microphone and spoke from the heart. And that was that touched me. Like, even now when I think about that's pretty raw. And I see how this community has tremendous potential, and I'm here to be part of whatever is gonna happen good here. That would be what I would say. And I know there's work to do. But what Vivek said that night in the microphone still resonates with me, because you can't fake that. You can't script that. That was in the moment. And if that's what's here, I want to be a part of it. That's why I'm here.
When everything went down, a lot of people, fans of different races, obviously reached out to me and was like, what can I do? And you can't value education without being willing to go about it and go get educated about this part that's going on. So I gave them books, I sent them movies, I gave them documentaries, I sent them in all the directions that I have been. Now it's up to them to want to take that information in. But I would say, as a country, and not total as a country, but definitely as a race, if you're going to value education the way that you do, and our education system, it kind of supports our country in many ways. If you look at the debt ratio, when you talk about students, that's the biggest debt in our country. So if you value education that way, don't go blind when it's time to educate yourself about my culture. And if you do that, we'll be working together, because now you'll be sympathetic to what's going on over here.
It's not a black person's fight, really, when you think about it. It shouldn't be on the oppressed to, make changes, really. I mean, and that's why I applaud the athletes in the NBA, because, these guys are putting themselves out there. Sure, they got millions of dollars and everything like that, but they could just be comfortable with their millions and not do that. And so I want these athletes to know that they're not alone either. That they don't have to take the brunt of it. You know, there are people every day on the front lines, on the streets, trying to make a difference. And so what I say to people at home and Kings fans is, we need your help. You know, we need you right beside us. And one thing I'm so encouraged about this community, though, I ride my bike a lot around the city here, and I can't tell you how many white people have actually just waved to me. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not used to that. You know, I ride up and I see a white couple walking, you know, I'm keeping an eye on them, they keeping an eye usually. But they just wave to me and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool, you know, like seriously. And so I think that's tremendous, man, because, you know, they don't know who I am from anybody else. I'm just a brother riding his bike, you know, and some of these neighborhoods are really nice and they still wave. And so that encourages me. That you know, makes me think that, you know, hopefully we are on the right track. And like I said, we are not in this fight by ourselves.
And little by little, like when people, fans, when you're around your friends or at home and someone's talking crazy or someone's thinking crazy, you have to shut it. And I say this to men too. If you hear your friends or someone saying crazy things about women or making a joke, like shut it down. Like it's the same thing. So they want to, you know, this community, it's like one person at a time, you know? It's like you can change one person, they can change one, they can change one, and have this little domino effect. And I think as far as the Kings go, like what we're doing today, we can continue to do more events, more talks, educate in that way. A lot of times, you know, some people aren't going to go and get a book, but when you can put it easy, like a click of a button, and they can just kind of watch something, maybe we can do more things of that nature. And once COVID is all done, and it will be soon, I'm praying for that, we can do more events like that. But like you said, since I've been here in Sac, everyone's been great and friendly and very happy and positive. So.
It's only been 2 months for me, man.
Well, I've been here.
They've been awesome.
It's like Disneyland, right?
I'm thinking there's some kind of crazy juice out here that's because when you say people say hi to you, I'm like, you know, listen, yeah, I mean, it wasn't that hospitable where I'm from in South Florida, Miami. It's notoriously one of the rudest cities. It's just a survey, but that's what it said. But this place, man, it's like Disney. I mean, people have been fantastic, and I sense a spirit of a community here. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's been wonderful.
You know, you guys are absolutely amazing, and I'm humbled. I'm proud to sit here and actually have this conversation. I know we could go on all day, all night. You know, in closing, you know, I think we do need to do more things like this. I do think that we are making a serious dent in this thing, but it's going to be important moving forward that we continue to keep this same energy. You know, and I appreciate and thank you guys for, you know, taking the time, and lady, for spending time with us inside of this situation.
Our voices are so important, man. And I have to tell you this story because it's relevant to what we're talking about. And we touched on allyship a moment ago. Last night I was watching a basketball game, and one of the play-by-play announcers said, "Oh, there's Rick Carlisle. And he did great work over the summer with the Equal Justice Initiative, reading a day on the calendar at a time in the bubble to his team. And when we would meet with Rick, he would tell us announcers about the Equal Justice Initiative and that day, that significance of that day historically." And he went through and documented that story in a tight 25, 30 seconds. And it's a white play-by-play announcer. So I texted him. I said, "Hey, man, you did a fantastic job in talking about equality and racial justice. Thank you for being an ally. Keep up the great work." Because there's so much fear amongst white sportscasters to say the right thing sometimes. And I understand that fear. But I keep telling my friends and allies, if you're armed with facts and empathy, we can change this world, man. You know, we can.
Okay. So we need the oppressed to stand up. We need allies to stand up. And we need everybody to continue to keep this same energy, because I promise you we will. Thanks for listening.